Alright, so with the coronavirus going on, we're all kind of stuck at home. It's springtime in Idaho, and I haven't been working, so I haven't been making any money to be able to go out and pretty much do anything. So I'm stuck at home, can't really go do anything, so I figured we'd go through and take a look at my Swimbait Arsenal. I have a lot more than some people. I have a lot less than some people. So we'll kind of jump into that video. Alright, so if you're going to get into big swim baits, your glide baits, things like that, I recommend going and getting a River to Sea S-Waver. It's probably by far one of the better swim baits as far as glide baits goes, easy to use. It comes in 3 sizes. This is the 120. This is the 168. And then this is the Big Daddy, the 200. I've seen a lot of big fish caught on these, and there's plenty of YouTube videos out there, so I don't need to really kind of delve into that at all. So, S-Waver. Alright, so jumping up in price a little bit. This is the Gancraft Jointed Claw, the slow sink version, in bluegill, or sorry, perch. I have it in the smaller size, which is the 148. I have it in a little bit larger size, which is the 178. And I think they make one size bigger in the perch pattern, but I'm not sure. Perch don't really get much bigger than that, so I don't know why they'd want to make them much bigger. So, all right, jumping up in size a little bit. This is a Onumatsu, or Durealis Onumatsu. I don't know if they're making this bait anymore. I checked on Tackle Warehouse, and they only have one color, and they haven't gotten any new colors in quite a while. I have it in the rainbow trout. I would love to get it in the perch pattern that they have, but I haven't been able to find it. So, yeah, it's a really good swimming bait. It's got a great S-weight, S-action, and it actually doesn't require a full-size swim bait rod. I throw this on my lighter swim bait rod. So, yeah. And then we got the Bait Sanity. This is version 1. The new version 2 has a different tail. I got this in the carp pattern, and the very first day took it out, and I ended up smacking it up against the dock. Took a chunk out of the fin, and I actually took a chunk out of the, or cracked the back tail. So everything still swims fine. I just filled it in with a little bit of glue, and just to make sure that it doesn't actually start filling up with water or anything. Swims really well. It's a very heavy bait. This is one that you would need a dedicated swim bait setup to run. So yeah, Bait Sanity. And for big hard baits, I have the Jackal Gantrel. This is the larger version. I got this for like stupid cheap. It was like 10 bucks on at my local Cabela's. I take it back. My local Cabela's is not really local. It's 125 miles away. But when I went into Cabela's, I ended up picking this up for like $10. So I got a really good steal of a deal on it. I like the way that this has the swiveling hook mount. It also has, swiveling line tie, and then it also has the swinging swiveling hook mounts on it. I've yet to throw it. I just keep forgetting to bring it with me when I'm going to go out on a day and swim it. So I haven't actually gotten this one in the water, and I've owned it for probably a year now. So yeah, my Jackal Gantrel. All right, so moving into some of the soft baits. This is the Megabass Mag Slow in 5 1/4 inch, I think. I found that the Mag Slow swims a lot better when you're running it a little bit faster. It doesn't want to try to roll over on you or blow out. You can also run this bait super slow on the bottom, and that little tail will actually kick and has a lot of great action. I like the rainbow trout color. I've caught a lot of bass on it. I have a few that I'm getting ready to had them in the tackle box a little too long, and the tails got bent, so I need to boil them and get them back to where they're straight. Comes in a larger, I want to say this is a 7-inch or a little over 6 inches. The same thing. It's a Megabass Mag Slow, and this is a really good bait. I've had a lot of luck with it. It's got a small little hook slot in the belly. Also has that patented Megabass magnet system. Up in the belly there's a small magnet here. I found that it doesn't actually hold the hook all that well, and that's why I like to actually tuck the hook. There is actually a slot built into it to do that. So, but yeah, I like to tuck the hook. And then it also comes in a 9.5-inch version. And this is, I've only thrown this a few times, and I actually bought it for a trip when I was going to go pike fishing. Never ended up throwing it on that trip. The weather was just not cooperating. So, but yeah, that's the big Mag Slow. Alright, so the next one we're going to talk about is the Mag Draft. It has the same patented magnet system in the belly that holds the hook. Now on the Mag Draft, it actually holds the hook a lot better than the Mag Slow. I think it's that feather that they put on the Mag Slow that actually holds, that doesn't let the hook seat up against that magnet well. This one also has, they also have a slot, a belly slot. This one has a great action. I don't run this one. I try to run this one a little bit faster. You can't run it too fast or they try to roll out on you. They actually fixed that issue with the Freestyle. Running the Freestyle, which is just comes as the soft plastic itself with, and then you buy your own owner beast. I want to say this is a 7/0 hook. It might be an 8/0, but you rig it with an owner beast belly hook, and it just has an amazing body roll to it that you just can't duplicate. So and you can run this one a lot faster than you can run the one with the harness in it. I think it's just that there's too much weight up in the head. But this one, I mean, it's got teeth marks all over it. This one's a bit older, and it's I think this is whiteback shad. And I've had it for a long time, and I've crushed a lot of fish on it. It comes in 3 sizes. That's the 6-inch. This one is the 8-inch, and I have it in that same whiteback shad color. And it's just a great bait. I really like the way they swim, and they're actually affordable. And then I also have it in the 10-inch. This one is an absolute brute. If you're going to throw this one, make sure you do have a dedicated swim bait setup. I think this thing weighs like 6 or 7 ounces. It's definitely a brute. When I throw this one, I feel like I'm just gonna break my rod, but my rod's definitely got enough backbone to take care of it. So, all right. So this is not the swim bait that got me into swim bait fishing, but when it came to swim bait fishing, this was the very first big swim bait that I bought. I have gotten a few bass on this. I haven't gotten any trout on it or anything, but a lot of trout like to nip at the tail, and being where the hook is, you'd have to get it pretty far or take it by the head to be able to get it in, to be able to get a trout on this one. This is the 6-inch Savage Gear line through trout. This is the 8-inch, and this is the updated version. That's version 1. This is version 2, which would be the 4D version. Has a scent built into it. And then this is the 10-inch version. I've gotten a few hits on this as well as the 8-inch. Just waiting for one of these times to actually get one of those fish to connect. So, but yeah, that's the Savage Gear line through trout. Alright, so can't talk swim baits without talking about this bait here. Most everybody's going to know what this bait is. This is the 6-inch Huddleston in perch. I also have the 68 and the 8-inch Hud. I've tried to get a 10-inch Hud, but I haven't been able to time it right when they've had them in stock and in the color that I would like to get them in. So, yeah. But most everybody should know how to run these things. This is your bottom fishing bait. Runs really well. I keep them stored on hooks so that we don't get bent tails. But yep, that is the Huddleston Deluxe 6-inch. Alright, so we'll get into some of the baits that you're going to rig on, you know, your general hook. This would be the Little Creepers trash fish. I think this is the, I can't remember exactly what the size is on this one. That's like a 4.5 inch. But I actually have a picture, and I will put it in the description, or I will link it into this part of the video. And as you can see, this bait is choked down that smallmouth's throat. That is, in fact, this bait right here. And, I mean, you can just see the amount of teeth marks. I hope that's coming through on the camera. But, and I mean, almost ripped off fin. I've got to fix that. I've got some glue to fix it. But this one comes in a few different sizes. My favorite would be by far this one. And then you have the fat version, which this is in the 6-inch. And it's just got a kind of a wider profile. I mean, if you look at this profile, it's thin and skinny, long. This one's, you know, basically chubby, like me. So yeah, that's that size. And then it comes in an 8-inch, and the 8-inch has a different head style, and the way that this bait just moves in the water is amazing. I've yet to throw this one. I haven't found an opportunity with the right circumstances to be able to throw this and connect with a fish. I take that back. I have thrown it. I just haven't connected with a fish. All of these, except for this one, these two are running Owner Beasts, and this one is a Trocar. Eagle Claw Trocar Magnum, I think is what it's called. Wide gap EWG swimbait hook. Then we have the Mega Bass Freestyle, and in a perch pattern. And like I said, this thing has just got a great action compared to the one that's already rigged. So, alright, so we're going to talk about rigging. First thing, when we get to the soft plastic, a lot of small swim baits. This is a Trocar Magnum, I'm not exactly sure, on a Kitech 6.8. This is the 6.8 size in Rainbow Trout, I think is what the color is. I rigged this up a lot of different ways. This is a weedless version, or a weightless version, sorry. And I rigged this one so that I can run it through the rocks and I don't have to worry about the belly weight or anything like that. And I can run it super slow because I have to be patient to let it, you know, sink to the bottom. So then we have the belly weighted swim bait hook, which you saw on the other and a couple of the other ones. And this one is a 5.3, 5.8, I think. These are all going to be Kitechs. This, in fact, is a fairly heavy head, and I run this one generally when I'm running through weeds or soft bottoms. Rocks, it catches on rocks quite a bit. The next one we're going to talk about is your wide gap hook. So these are unweighted EWG swim bait hook, weighted swim bait, belly weighted swim bait hook. And then you've got a, or nose weighted. And then you have running a jig hook. This is the Mega Bass Body Count, I think is their Bodyguard. And I actually really like the way this head swims. I just wish the hook was a little bit longer so I could put the hook point a little bit further back. Hook size is good, but just I wish I could put that hook point a little bit further back. The other way you can rig them, and this is electric shad, and this is rigged similar to the weightless version. The only difference is I've taken nail weights and I've pushed a few nail weights up into the belly, and then I also have one up into the nose of the bait. It just gives it that weedless, you know, to where it's not gonna It's not going to get caught up on the rocks, but you give it a little bit of weight and it'll sink a little bit faster. And then the last way that I like to rig them is, if you can see, this is still that EWG belly weighted hook, and this is a owner beast. But I also threw on a little swivel and a little bit of a willow blade, just to give it a little bit more flash. You can run this one in dirtier water, and those fish are going to be able to see that little bit of flash. Sometimes that little bit of flash is all it's going to take and help. I've also had people ask me, why do I have such big baits, things like that. Mind you, I've thrown, little baits like this in the area that I go smallmouth fishing, and I to where I could see the bass. I mean, I could literally see the bass sitting on a rock. Didn't want it. So I went and picked up this thing, which is the 7.8, and I threw this bait, and that fish come off that rock and just destroyed it. It was looking for a bigger meal. It wasn't looking, it didn't want this little thing. So that's kind of the reason why I like to carry a little bit of everything when I go smallmouth fishing. So yeah. All right. So next up, this is the bait that actually got me into swim bait fishing and starting to buy swim baits. A buddy of mine took me out and we went smallmouth fishing, and I tied on my first swim bait ever, and ever since then I've kind of been hooked. And yeah. So this is the Reactions Innovations. This is the Skinny Dipper, and then I also have the Little Dipper. I like the Little Dipper a little bit better because I can rig it with a decent size, with a big hook. Still has the same action, and it puts that hook point a little bit further back. The Skinny Dipper is better for when the fish want that bigger bait. I actually caught my personal best on this one right here, and I want to say the color is Gunnerville Shad, but I'm not 100% positive. My personal best smallmouth, and I'll put a picture in there, is 7 pounds, 9 ounces. So that's my personal best smallmouth. I did catch it in the same place I caught that my last video came from. But like I said, I mean, I've got it in a bunch of different colors. Oh, actually, I take that back. These are the Guggen Baits Saucy Swimmers. I do have things in here a little bit different. The reason I picked these up is because I really like that color. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a person to go after the trends and things like that. I pick stuff up because I want to try it, and not because someone tells me I need to. So, but yeah, that's the Guggen Baits Saucy Swimmer. And like I said, this is my Reactions Innovations, basically my Reactions Innovations box minus the Saucy Swimmers. All right, so this would be my Kitech box. This is basically all my Kitechs except for my really big ones. I have a separate box to put those in. There's also there's also some different ones in here as well. This is actually that little Strike King Rage Tail swimmer or something like that. But that's the only one that's different in here. I take that back, there's a couple others, but this is mostly what I consider my Kitech box. I have the Easy Shiner in a few different colors. I have the Swing Impact, not the Swing Impact Fat, just the regular Swing Impact. And then I have the Swing Impact Fat in a bunch of different smaller colors. This one is Chartreuse Blueback, I think, or Sexy Shad. I can't remember for sure what the color is. A few videos ago, I actually caught a decent smallmouth throwing this one, which is Smallmouth Magic, and I ended up catching it on the smaller version. So this one's just it's the same bait, same exact bait, just, you know, a little bit smaller. So but that's my Kitech box, and like I said, I mean, I rig them all sorts of different ways. It's a bulldog head or something like that from VMC. Belly weighted swim bait hooks are my favorite. fishing on the Snake River, we have a lot of big rocks and things like that. This is the head I was fishing for largemouth for, with that little crawbait, the goon baits, crack and crawl, and I was just destroying them with that little swing head. So, but yeah, that's my, that's kind of a look at what my Kai-Tak box looks like. All right, so we're almost halfway through all my boxes. This is my kind of my random box. I've got a good combination of a lot of different baits in here. Like these ones are Cane Thumpers by Big Bite Baits. I like the way these swim, and they've got like basically a thinner midsection, so it gives them a lot of good action. And you can rig them in a lot of different ways. You can rig them sideways, things like that. These are actually really, really good baits. Next is the Lunker Hunt Fetch. I have all of these rigged on different baits, and these are all really super, super durable. I like the way the head shape is on these. Got a lot of detail to them. I've got this one rigged on a belly weighted swim bait hook. I've got, all of them are pretty much rigged, so a little bit of garbage. But yeah, the Lunker Hunt Fetch is a really, really good bait. These are the Mega Bass Spark Shad, I think is what they're called. This one's rigged on just a regular jig hook. I've got another one rigged on a swim bait, on a swim hook, or a swinging swim bait hook. You can see the way that swings. Come on, focus. Okay. I really like the way these swim. They've got a great action. I like the way that it's got a lot more durableness to the body, because it's a thicker body. These are the Strike King, I can't remember, Easy Shad, or the KVD, I can't remember what the name of them are. It's that little KVD shiner swim bait thing that they've got. Picked them up at Walmart. This is Watermelon Red Flake, and then I also have them in the shiner color, which, like I said, this is my favorite color to throw for smallmouth in the Snake River. These are, I think these are little swim baits that I got in one of my mystery tackle boxes, or lucky tackle box, whichever one it was. I haven't really thrown those, as well as these either. These are the Zoom Swimming Flukes, I think is what they're called, or Super Fluke Swimmers, or something like that, the little version. I've yet to throw them. To be honest, I have so many I forget sometimes. So yeah, that's kind of like my miscellaneous box. And this is basically probably by far one of my cheapest boxes I've got. These are all Matsuo. I don't even know what the name of them are. They're the hard body, multi-jointed hard bodied swim baits. A friend of mine, we went fishing, walleye fishing at night, and he was throwing a couple of these and throwing and just crushing some walleyes with it up in the shallows. So I went out and picked up a couple, and was able to do the same. Great little bait for as cheap as they are, and for a little swim bait with like a photo finish. These are the Sebile Magic Swimmers, I think is what these are called. These are the two bigger versions, the three bigger versions. I have some smaller ones as well. Right here, and I've got one that's a little bit smaller. These aren't bad swimming little baits. I haven't really used them all that much. I bought them for walleye fishing, and I haven't really been, so yeah. Okay, so a little bit on how to rig belly weight swim bait hook. There's a lot of videos out there. It's fairly straightforward, fairly simple. I like the ones that have the twist lock on them. They just seem to be a lot more durable, and you're not passing this big weight through the through the hole that you're making in the nose, and so it just doesn't seem to tear up as much. Biggest issue I have is the fish grabbing onto the tail and ripping the tail off. So, but basically what we do is we take the bait, whatever your bait of your choice is. This is a Gamakatsu belly weighted swim bait hook. Or no, I take that back. This is the Berkeley one. And basically you just, what I like to do is I like to put it the way that the fish is, or the way that the weight's going to sit in there. And then you just push it into the nose. And as you're pushing, you're twisting it. And I like to run them to where the bait's all the way up against the hook itself. It's personal preference. I just like to try to get that hook point a little bit further back. So then you line up and see where you want your hook to come out. Right now it's going to be right about where that little rib is. So you bend your bait up, feed your hook through, and then I like to watch the point come out, and that's how I rig it up. You want to try to get them as straight as possible. The straighter you get them, the better they're going to swim. If you get them to where they're crooked or got a kink in them, you're going to list or lean to one side, and it's not going to swim very straight. So, all right. So this is my small swim bait setup. I use this when I'm throwing like my 6-inch mag giraffe or these smaller, littler, smaller swim baits. This is a 7'5", good from 3/8 of an ounce to 1 ounce, 25 to 25 or 10 to 25 pound line. I have this rigged up with 15-pound braid, and I run a 10-pound Seaguard and Vizex fluorocarbon leader. I hate retying my leaders, so I usually run about a 16-foot leader. It just makes it easier. I don't have to retie a bunch of different leaders. If my line gets frayed up or whatever, I'll retie, but I'll find where the frayed spot is and get rid of that section. So it just makes it easier to have a longer leader. I have it paired up with a Shimano Curado 200. The very first bait caster that I ever learned how to fish with, as far as bait casters go, was a Shimano Curado, and I just kind of stuck to that same theme. I really like the Curado. I have a bunch of them. So yeah, that's my smaller swim bait setup. And then we're going to bring in the broomstick. This is my Dobbins Fury Series FR806 swim bait rod. This is an 8-foot swim bait rod, good from 2 to 8 ounces, which I've thrown a little bit heavier, and it kind of feels like it's a little much for the rod. About I can throw it all the way down to 1/8 of an ounce to up to about a 6 ounce, and it feels really, really decent for the rod. 20 to 40 pound line rating. I have it paired up with 65-pound Power Pro braid, and then I have run a 25-pound Seaguard and Vizex leader, fluorocarbon leader. I've gotten a few decent smallmouth on this. I'm still waiting for that big largemouth, but I have that paired up with a Shimano Tranx 300 in the 300 size. This is an absolute tank. If you're gonna do it, go with the 300 or go with the 400. If you're gonna go with a big reel, it just makes it a lot easier. And I've actually found to where I can skip some of my big swim baits on this rod, and I can't, for whatever reason. I don't know if it's just I have this one set up perfectly and I don't the others, but I have a lot of issues trying to skip baits with the smaller rods. So yeah, that's my big swim bait setups.